Well, hello everyone. I'm Rushi Ghizal from UPS Kusumbhi, and this is a lesson plan on circle. This is basically made for class 6, 7th and 8th. The subtopics which we are going to discuss over here are concepts of maths in circle like radius, diameter, chord, arc, etc. Half circle, segment of circle, interior region and exterior circle, etc. The teaching aids. General aids are whiteboard, colored markers, duster, and specific aids are Diksha app and flashcards. For general objectives, it is to create interest in maths, to create mathematical approach, independent thinking, and reasoning in students. For instructional objectives, we have got the knowledge in which the students will develop the knowledge of circle and their various definitions. Then we have got the skills, understanding concept of the topic of circle and application to apply it in the concept of circle in daily life. Previous knowledge assume is that children are aware of various shapes such as a square, rectangle, etc. For previous knowledge testing, what we do is we ask a child, suppose Ramesh, that can you come and draw a rectangle on the board, and he comes and draws it on the board, or a square on the board. Then we ask Sita whether she can draw a circle. She comes and draws it on the board. Then we can ask the child define radius, and there will be no response. Then we'll announce the topic, which is basically we'll say that children, today we are going to discuss the topic circle. For the presentation, it's as following. Firstly, we'll introduce circle. A circle is a shape consisting of all points in a plane that are given at a distance from a given point. Basically, is a curve traced out by points that moves in a plane such that its distance from a given point is constant. This constant point is called as the center. Center in Hindi is also called as kendra. This is circle. Circle is called as vrat, and this is center or kendra. Then radius of circle, it is also called in Hindi as trijya. This radius is basically distance of the circle from the center to the circumference of the circle. Then we have diameter, which is also called vyas in Hindi. This is basically a line passing from one point of the circumference to another point, and which is also passes or which is also going through the center O. After this, we come to the definition of circumference. Circumference in circle is defined as a linear distance around it. This is circumference C. This is center O. And now we have relationship between the radius and diameter. Actually, radius is represented by small letter r and diameter with a small letter d. So circumference is equal to 2 pi r, or circumference is equal to pi d, where C is circumference, r is the radius, d is distance, pi is defined as 22 upon 7. Now we move on further. Now we are going to define arc of the circle. The arc of a circle is any portion of the circumference of the circle, this portion. This is also in Hindi is called as chap. So this is basically divided into major arc, which is also called as dirgh chap in Hindi, and minor arc, which is called as laghu chap. So the major part of the circumference is called as major arc or dirgh chap, and the minor part of the circle is called as minor arc or laghu chap. Then we have got semicircle. Semicircle is basically half of the circle, which you can see over here. Or if you see a complete circle, this is your diameter, and this area over here, this arc which is passing from this circumference till this diameter, is the semicircle of or half of the circle. Next is chord of a circle. Chord is called as jiva, and jiva and it is basically any line which passes from one end of the circumference to another end of the circumference. There is a little bit of difference between chord and diameter. Diameter is basically a line which passes from one end of the circle to another end, but it is a line which passes to the center also. In case of chord, it only goes from one point of the circle to the other point on the circle, or basically circumference. Then we have segment of a circle which is called as Vratkhand. This is a part of a circle. The segment is a region bounded by a chord of a circle and the intercepted arc of the circle. Segment are again two types: major segment and minor segment. Segment over here, minor segment is the smaller part of the smaller segment of the circle, and this is also called as Laghu Vratkhand, and this is major part of the segment is called as major segment, and this is also called as Dir Vratkhand.